In today's video, we're going to see if we can fix this Poulan Wild Thing carburetor. It's a 2375 series, and it's a WT, let's look on the side of it here. It's an 024 carb or a WT, you can barely read it, 324. But it does fit the 2375 Wild Thing and probably many others out there. So, hey guys, this one here is actually a Walbro. We're going to try to put a kit in it and see how it turns out. Hopefully we'll get this whole thing to run. Because I did look around for one on the internet, Amazon, eBay, and of course there's nothing exactly like it out there anymore. I'm not sure what's going on, but the levers, choke rod's a little different, it's a little extended. So we did try to put one of those other aftermarket carburetors on that 2375 Wild Thing, but it just didn't run right. So back to trying to fix this one. Hopefully we can get it done. Stick around, let me show you how I'm going to do it today. And if you can offer any pointers, post them down in the comments below. I'm always open to learning more every day. Even at my age, we never know everything, but there are a lot of people out there sure think they do. So stick around, let's make this happen. Today's video, we're going to be showing you how to rebuild this little carburetor right here that came off a Poulan Wild Thing 2375. Now the reason I'm trying to rebuild it is I've looked all over the Amazon and eBay, and you cannot find this exact carburetor that has the linkages just like you see on this one. So I'm not sure what the deal is, but everywhere as I looked, they came up with a carburetor that said would fit a 2375 Poulan, which this carburetor is actually marked on the side right here, 024 or WT324. And everything you pulled up on a WT324 showed actually a different linkage. And with that carburetor, which we did try to put on the Poulan, it actually, the linkage would hit the little cover that went around it. So we made a hole, drilled a hole in it and got it to work, but the carburetor still wasn't what we needed. It didn't work properly. So let me show you how we're going to try to rebuild this one right here. And one of the things you're going to have are several of the tools you're going to need is a flat tip screwdriver. You're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, and you might want to get you one of these if you don't already have one. They're pretty handy. This thing here is a marker. When you're doing work, you just pop that button right there, and then it puts a little indentation in there, a metal marker if you want to mark something on metal. Or for drilling, punching centers out. Say for instance you want to drill a hole in this board, you want to make sure it's center, just pop your little hole in there just like so, and put your drill bit right in there and it's centered. Now one other thing you want to do is you'll pay attention, see what I wrote on this board right here. The lowest 1 3/4 turn and the highest 1 1/2 to 1 3/4 turn. Now I did that simply because I wanted to mimic the original adjustments on this carburetor, and you're going to want to pay attention. One side is low, which is right here, and the other side is high, which is right here. It's marked L and H. So that right there lets you know the low speed and the high speed settings on this thing. So it's easier if you go ahead and screw them all the way down and count how many turns you went in and write it down on a notepad. Come back over, do the high side, screw it all the way down, and go ahead and write your readings down on that one. So that way you know where to go once you're going back together with the two places. And oh, by the way, if we do find the right kit, we'll post a link down in the description below where you can buy that kit from to rebuild your own, and where you can find one of these. And this is something else you might want to pay attention to. These are mini drill bit kits, and it comes with a handle, chucks up the drill bits in them, a little miniature handle. Like I said, it comes with 0.1 to 1 millimeter tiny drill bits. You'll need that to clear out the orifices in the carburetor. And then right over here, got a really neat set. Look at that, would you? Aren't those cool? Got little stops that are color coded. I really like that, and got a little protective case with them too. So they wasn't that expensive. Again, I'll post some links down in the description where you can buy these at. Oh, disclaimer, if you buy through our link on Amazon, we get a little kickback. So you just pay $14, we might get a whopping 37 cents. So that's what it's all about on them. They gotta get their cut, and you get a little piece of it. So let's move this all to the side here, and try not to lose any pieces because they're so tiny. I should have got me another yellow cloth and just put it all over there. I'm going to try to make this video as fast as I can. But when you're working with something so tiny and you're big and bulky as I am, it's kind of hard. So let's go ahead and take these screws out right here. Now I understand they do make a few tools out there that make this job a little, or this process a little bit easier, and I believe they go on top of the screw. It sets down in like a socket, then you're able to twist these things right out. Now this in here is the one on the side, that's the high side, and this is the low side. Now let's see if there's any difference in them now that we got them out. The high side was over here, the low side was over here. I don't see any difference in the needle in them. So that's not a big concern there, but I would still try to put them back in the place they came out of. That makes it a whole lot easier to resolve any problems if you have any. Now then, let's take this side off. Phillips head screwdriver. And if you've never done it, just lay your screws to one side, you know, lay out your parts. A lot of us old farts like myself, we've been doing this for a long time. We forgot more than we ever knew. Okay, that's going to be on the side that doesn't have the writing. Now this is a Walbro, and like I said, it is a 024, I believe it's what it said earlier, 024 or WT324. So it's marked right there on the side. So if you need to know the identification of your carburetor, right there is what it is. Look at that, it fell right off of there. So there's that. This is the diaphragm. Usually this is what is probably a problem in most of them. And it's kind of stuck to it pretty good. Yeah, that old diaphragm is in real bad shape. Yeah, I don't think that's working too good at all. Now while we got it out, let's look at this diaphragm over here. Well, we got lucky on that. That looks like the same one. Always lay your parts out, make sure they're exactly the same. You see, this one here is kind of hard to see it, but I'll lay it to the side. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see, I'm gonna put it up. Oh, I didn't get it where you can see it. Sorry about that. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And keep the orientation the way it should be. Yeah, I haven't seen any of them that was quite this bad. This one's in pretty bad shape. Wow. Pretty bad. So you got another section right here. I'm going to get a utility blade, knife or scraper. Now when you get to this part here, like I said, take a utility knife and get up underneath this edge right here, run it around there and peel that off of there. And then so you don't get confused if you never did one of these, you flip your part right on top of there and you kind of know where it goes. Now you'll want to clean all this stuff up the best you can. And you also want to get you a can of carburetor cleaner. Keep that by you, make sure you got that handy. Like I said earlier, you might want to make sure you got you some good carburetor cleaner. Now we're going to be using some of this old gum out today. You can use any kind you want. Carburetor cleaner as far as I'm concerned. Now you make sure you don't want to get this on something like your tabletop here. There might be something that's you're trying to save, because this stuff will eat up some stuff that you wouldn't believe. But you're going to need that to clean that carburetor before you go back together with it. So down inside here, you're going to also have a little bitty, well, you got Phillips head screw. And I think I'm going to have to get a smaller screwdriver to get down in there. Let's try this one. There it is. Okay. That's where the needle and seat goes inside of it. Now I'm going to lay this over here to the side so I know where it's at. And I'm going to try to pick this up where you see it a little bit better. It's really hard. There's a pin and there's your little needle and seat assembly. I'm going to lay that right there. Put that beside it so I don't lose it. That's real important. And then the hardest part of the entire carburetor, going back together, is that little spring right there, trying to keep it in place and then setting all that back in there without it popping back loose. Now a little further in here, right there, is a needle. Pop that right out of there. Kind of take a look at it. We'll set it down where you see that better. That is what controls the flow of fuel into the carburetor. It's got a little rubber gasket on the end of it there, or some of them don't. It may be just all brass right there, real small brass. But you want to make sure that it's real clean when you go back together. Now I'll give you a shot of the new one. See, you can kind of see that little rubber tip on this new one. That's also real important, making sure that's back into the proper way. Now I'm going to tap it upside down to see what happens. Well, I got a little trash come out of there. I don't know if it came out of it or was it on the edge of it, but either way you look at it, got something out of it. Now the main well caps are right there and right there. I do have 2 of them in my kit, so I'm doing okay. To get those out of there, it is pretty tough. That's where this little tool might come in and help you. It may or may not. In your case, if you have to, you may take that little bitty drill and go in and drill your notch out of there and pop it out. But let's try this. Let's see if we can shock it out. What I mean by shock, we're going to use this tool to do what I showed you earlier. And we're going to put it down there at the edge of it, and we're going to pop it. Yep, we almost got it. See how that's coming out of there? There we go, just like that. Pop that thing right out of there. Now you don't have to worry about that indentation in it because you're going to be putting a new cap on it, right? If I can get it, there's a new one. So we're good to go on that. Same thing, take the other one out of there. Tap it upside down. Now if you just pulled it straight off the lawnmower, you probably got some gas come out of it. You may want to make sure, like I said, the surface is, you got something down there, plastic or whatever, because wherever that gas goes, it's going to ruin your tabletop or whatever you're working on. Outside of that main well cap right there, that's the only other thing to take out of there, and I'll get that out here shortly. Now let's go to the other side to cut the video shorter. Again, this is a Walbro. There's an old guy I follow out there on YouTube, and he's just cool as hell, man. I can't think of his name now, but something Saloon. I'll think of his name here in a little while. He got some really cool stuff out there too, folks. Oh my gosh, look at all that trash down inside there. No wonder that thing wouldn't run. You see all that trash inside there? Look at this side. That's nasty. That's real nasty. We'll take that off. Then we're going to put it down, facing down. Then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pull this off. We're going to flip it down. Now remember, this is going to go just like that. And that's the best way I can say to lay your stuff out so you don't remember how it goes later on. Or you don't forget how it goes later on, like I just forgot. So there's that. That's all one unit. Now you may want to keep it together, just like you got it here. So when you go back together, there's no confusion. Even in my age, and even after I've done it for so many years, it's still easy to forget how these things go. Put your screw right back in place here. But yeah, I'm fast amazed with all that stuff down inside there. Yeah, there's a lot of crap inside there, folks. Blow it out. I wouldn't have ran either if I looked like that. And check your throttle shaft, make sure that it turns freely. That is probably where the problem was going to be, that trash we had down in here on this other side. And everything else looks pretty good on it. Now the kit you're going to get may come with a lot of extra pieces. You may not use all the parts that you see in the kit in your carburetor, so don't be confused by that. Also, you want to check down here and make sure that this is all sealed up pretty good on your throttle shaft, your little choke, your little flapper valve. Make sure that it operates freely. Next, you get you some compressed air if you got a compressor, and blow all of these out. Put you some that gum out in them, clean it up the best you can. If you got something to soak them in, that's really the best way to go, but I currently don't have anything to soak them in, so we're just going to use some gum out and then we're going to put it back together. Now if you got you a little compressed air, you don't have to have a whole lot, but if you got some at all, it sure does help it. You know, blow on these passageways the best you can, real lightly. Don't go crazy with air, even on these little nipples out here. See, I see something floating around there. I'm not sure what that is, but I can get it off of there. All your little passageways. Now I still got to take that main well cap off of there, and I'm going to do that here shortly. I ain't forgot about it. I'm just trying to speed up the video as much as I can. I did not show on the camera blowing this carburetor cleaner through them, because I didn't want to get it all over top of my toolbox. But off camera I went in and sprayed all of this real well. I'm going to do it again. Alright, I did it again. I did intentionally, I did not wear any gloves. You see what happens when you don't wear gloves? Look at your hands, it turns them all white. That carburetor cleaner is cold and it does dry out your skin super fast, so anytime you're using any kind of carburetor cleaner for safety reasons, always wear gloves, or else your hands will look just like this. Looks pretty good so far. I think we're going to take that main well cap out of there. We're going to clean this up a little bit more. Then we're going to start matching our parts up. Make sure we're ready to go back together. So let me lay those out and I'll be right back. Now if you buy a kit, try to get the gasket set that look like this, not like that blue one right there. For some reason or another, I've had really good luck with these. Now these here seem to fail me more often. So that's going to be the first part that's going to go on here like so. And how you know this goes on here if you made a mistake of not identifying it, this screw is going to go right here underneath that lever. So there's that one. Now we need to find the other gasket that's going to go there. Bingo, I think we got a winner. So then that one's going to go on there just like so. I'm going to lay them up here to see how they look. And she got little ears on the side right here. This helps you align that gasket up. Oh, let me get over there. Helps you align that gasket up when you go back together. See, if you flip that down like that, it makes it easier to hold that gasket in place. Make sure it looks even all the way around when you put it back together. If you're not sure, just pop this back off and lay it back in place. But you see it should seat up there pretty good. And then there you got it. Now then, once you got that all back together, make sure you got that in there tight. Double check around the edges, make sure the gasket looks like it's still lined up like it should be, and you're finished with that side pretty much. Next, you're going to go back with the hardest part of the carburetor, and that's going to be getting all that needle set back in this seat, getting this little piece right here back in there, right, yeah, this piece right here. That spring goes in there first. That screw's going to hold it in. Of course, that main well's got to go back over that. I'm going to blow that out one more time. No, sorry, I will not blow that out one more time because I did it earlier. But that right there is really important to make sure you clean that passage out real well. That's where the little drill bit set comes in real handy. If you feel like it's plugged up, and I did that, and I should have showed you. I ran down inside there with one of the smallest ones I had to clean those little orifices out right there. Most of your problems on these little carburetors are things that are plugging up, bad gaskets in there, corrodes them. This one is not due to bad fuel. I think it's bad. It went bad because a lot of trash got into the intake. The air intake of it, the filter was pretty dirty, and we had been running it pretty hard for like 3 or 4 days. So if you get all the trash out of these and make sure all the orifices are cleaned up, 95% of the time they're going to run just as good as the date you put it on there. Now let me go ahead and continue. Let's see if we can get this stuff laid out. I'm going to move these out of the way right now because those are already put back in, and these are the diaphragm and stuff that we're going to put back in this side. Now I don't think that part of the video took, but I'm going to show you again the main well cap. What I did was I took a piece of a little bitty screw right here with a flat end on it, and I put that up on top, the center of it, just like so, and I tapped it with a hammer. What that does is it spreads that outer edge of that main well cap out where it seals up inside the body of the carburetor itself. So you've got a little indentation there. That's not going to hurt nothing, doesn't affect operation at all. Better to have it too tight than leaking and causing flooding problems. Okay, I got to the point in the video where pretty much could not record it because it took me almost 7 minutes to get it done. It is that crucial and that contrary to getting back in there. But this piece here, your needle, is going to go down inside there first. Then you're going to have that piece right there, which is the pin that it pivots on. rides inside that little fulcrum lever, or whatever you want to call it. Technically, maybe call something else, but that's what we're going to call it for the purpose of the video. And then underneath that little dimple you see right here is actually where the spring goes. So it's almost like you need 4 hands, and they need to be little miniature hands. So you're going to try what I did. Was I was able to set the spring down in there as straight as I could. I actually set it here on the table like so. Set that spring in there like it was a balancing act. I put the needle in there next, or put the needle in first. I put the spring down in there. It was a balancing act where it would just kind of teeter-totter straight up and down. Then I was able to set this down in there at an angle like so. And I dropped it down inside there like that and pushed that down. And you have, the whole time you need to make sure that it goes around that little lip or a little bubble. It's a little nipple sticking out of there, which centers the spring in the pocket down there, and then put the screw back in the side there. So there's no way I could video that, but so that you can see, and maybe you can't, but we're going to try. If you look down inside there, you'll see right down. See how that functions? That is what controls the fuel coming in and out of the carburetor. So now the rest of it going back together is pretty simple. All you're going to do is put these gaskets back on here just like we had them before. With that one, put this one just like so. Then you come back in here and put this cap on there just like so. And then screw those down. Let me get that done and we'll continue with the video. I almost forgot to show you this part. You see that little dimple thing right there on top there? That little plunger rides right to the right side of that, and it moves up and down, up and down, up and down, like a little diaphragm. It helps pull that fuel back in through, transfer the fuel back and forth. So yeah, that's critical right there. You see how that just moves up and down, like a little pump inside there. Put it all back together like that. Get your 4 screws back in place. You're done with that section. You know, as I'm sitting here thinking about several things, one thing I'm thinking of for sure as I'm tightening the screws up is what just happened in this world. I can't say I can justify anything of such evil. You're a man that's going to be true to miss, Mr. Charlie Clark. Now let's continue with the video. Just my 2 cents. I shouldn't be condemned over it either. Okay, let's settle out something real fast. I misled you at the beginning of the video. There are 2 different size screws. I couldn't tell them till right now. If you look at the diameter of this one and look at the diameter of that one's a lot smaller than that one. So there is a big difference in them screws. One is going to be low and high. This of course is a smaller one. It's going to go right there. And we said on our notations earlier before we tore it apart that we're going to go on the low side 1 3/4, and the high side is going to be 1 1/2 to 1 3/4. So we need to turn this one in 1 3/4 back. We're going to take it all the way in, and then we're going to back it out 1 3/4 turns. Screw that old booger all the way down inside there. I know the guy on the video I like to follow does a lot of small engine repair guys, and he is really good at it. He's kind of slow talking like myself. Old Steve Saloon, I believe is what it's called. That old boy is something else. He got some really good information out there, so check him out. Old Steve Saloon out there. What starts his videos up. Alright, that's a half, that's 1, that's a half, and that's 3/4. That's where it was originally. Now that does not mean that it's going to run there, but it's a good chance it's going to be pretty close. Now this one was 1 1/2 to 1 3/4. Now that was the high side, so let's take it all the way down. I do have one of them tools, I just couldn't find it today, that you adjust these with it's running. It kind of encapsulates the whole thing on the outside, and you got a slot in the middle of it. Okay, that's 1/2, that's 1, that's 1/2, that's 1 3/4. I think we're pretty close right there, guys. Now if you want to, you can go ahead and put this back on there. Me personally, I don't want to. I want to be able to get them screws a lot easier, so I'm not going to put that back on there. At least I say I'm not, at least right now. Might change my mind later. Well, I hope the video didn't get too dark on you as the video went on, because I know the sun's starting to set, and I should have been making adjustments as I went along, but at my age it's kind of hard to remember what pants I put on yesterday. So we got the carburetor back together. Like I said, you may want to put this on there. If you do, you don't. That doesn't have anything to do with it as far as it's running. besides protecting dirt from getting inside it from the outside once it's inside the case there. I think the case goes over that section, so it is kind of important. But these little caps here, you may need them for yourself. Me, I don't need them. Well guys, I hope you got some information out of this old homegrown video. Like I said, this is for the 2375 chainsaw, old Poulan Wild Tang. I got 2 or 3 of them I picked up at garage sales. And the next video, I'll probably put it out there showing me installing this thing on that Poulan. So, showing you how it works out, how we adjusted it. Well guys, thumbs up, like, subscribe, and I really hope you tune in for my next video. And get out there and share this with your friends and enemies. I don't care. Share it to everybody. And let them know we out there and we're trying to teach y'all and give y'all some advice on how to fix your own stuff and save you a buck or two here and there. If you don't do that, those old videos sets in limbo. It doesn't go very far because we're not a big channel. We're just a mom and pop small one. So thumbs up, like, subscribe. I hope y'all stick around for our next video. Thanks for watching.